figure joins us now. Thursday evening, it is the London Football Legends Awards 2014 for the Willow Foundation, the charity set up by the former Arsenal keeper Bob Wilson. And I've been lucky enough to be on the voting panel, the judging panel for the awards. Quite a lot will be decided on the night, but two have been decided. Lifetime Achievement for Roy Hodgson, and the Willow Award, which recognises the legend's contribution off the pitch. And we all sat down and started to throw names around for who would be right for this. Our next guest name came up and we all said, that's it, we can stop now. It is West Ham's Director of Youth Development. It's Tony Carr. Tony, good afternoon.
Afternoon, guys.
Well, congratulations. First up, as I said, it was pretty unanimous as we started to chat about this award, so it should be a great night.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it's for a terrific cause, and I'm happy to be there to be the recipient of one of the awards.
How long have you been at the club now, Tony?
This is my 41st year.
Wow.
Season, year, whatever. Yeah, 73 I started, and still here.
How did the move come about? Take us back.
Oh, it's long. Well, obviously, I was a young apprentice in the late 60s there at West Ham, and a young professional. Didn't quite make the top level, made it to basically reserve team level, and went out and played part-time football, and started working coaching in the schools, which I'd done one of the first coaching award at the club, and in a professionals award. And John Lyle gave me a call. I'd had an injury, and he said, would you be interested in coming and do a bit of part-time coaching? I understand you're doing a bit of coaching. Would you come and do a little bit with the kids? So I said, yeah, happy to. And that was in 73 on a part-time basis, and basically we've been there ever since.
I mean, you've overseen so many different West Ham youth teams and so many great successes. You went on to be internationals, from Tony Cottee through to Rio Ferdinand, the current crop such as Mark Noble and Tompkins. What is it must have changed a lot. They say the culture that surrounds youth team players, the very fact that, the culture of them kind of working as cleaning boots and the fact that they now get paid more money and all the rest of it. Your job must have changed so much. But what are the things that have remained the same that you can consistently apply to all young players throughout the eras?
I think the consistency is at the very start of all their careers, they've all got dreams, the kids. They've all got ambition to be playing for their country or playing for their club's first team, and that hasn't changed. The situation with the jobs, etc. That came about with the PFA saying that boys, the young boys, they're there for football, shouldn't be doing menial tasks. But in some respects, that was a way of getting them mingling with the first team squad and cleaning their boots and they're picking up their kit, etc. And it was all part of the apprenticeship that one day they may be there in that dressing room, sort of looking at the next generation of young players. So that's missing out of the game today. There's not quite the integration of young players and senior players that there used to be. And would
you like to see that back, Tony? There's a lot of people in football that would like to see it. They think it grounds the young players.
Yeah, I don't think we should go as far as we used to have cleaning the toilets and painting the dressing rooms and things like that. But certainly, football tasks, they should be cleaning boots, picking up kit, getting out equipment, etc., etc., and mingling with the first team and sort of not being at their beck and call. But if a first team player needs his boots or wants them clean, there should be an apprentice assigned to him. That he should do that, and in some respects want to do that. I remember when I was a young apprentice, I enjoyed doing that because it was one way of mingling and rubbing shoulders with the senior players.
Tony, when you look down the list, some of which I've mentioned, I think Lampard, Ferdinand, Carrick, Joe Cole, Glenn Johnson, and all the ones since then as well. People often say that you never really know when you first see a player whether or not they're going to develop into the real thing because there's so many factors. But in terms of just the sheer talent, what are the ones that you can remember on first sight and you were amazed by the amount of talent they had?
I think the one that really stands out as a very young player was Joe Cole, to be quite honest. When we first, set eyes on him, he came in for a game for us when I think he was about 12. He sort of just blew your mind away with his ability. And it wasn't just doing tricks or manipulating the ball. It was a real hunger for the game. He'd tackle, he'd chase, and he'd work, and he'd do things you'd never seen a boy of that age do. So, you'd say, well, if this kid progresses in the same way, he's banged on as being a player. And obviously so it turned out to be that he ended up playing for our first team, playing for England and winning all sorts with Chelsea and so on. So Joe was the one that was the obvious one that stood out of that at any one time. But you never really do know. All I would say is if you see like a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old and he puts in an outstanding performance, you think, oh, this kid's got something. If he can keep producing that year on year on, well, obviously then, and the nearer you get to sort of the older end, the 18s, you think, well, this kid's got a chance because he keeps dominating games, he keeps affecting games in a really positive way. This kid must have a real chance, and then the next step is getting the opportunity.
Finally, Tony, has it become more sort of cutthroat, trying to get hold of the talent, to find the young players, to get them to sign for West Ham as opposed to other teams?
I think that's where it's changed. I think it's much harder now to get young players to commit because of all the influences outside the game. That, you know, with parents being advised by every Tom, Dick and Harry, and players maybe not ready to commit early to their club. So it is a bit of a problem, and I think every club has it, not just West Ham, but it's a problem for everybody. That it is tougher to get the talent and to keep the talent. No two ways about that.
Well, Tony, see you on Thursday. Congratulations again, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Cheers, Tony.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Bye.
Tony Carr there, West Ham's head of youth development, will receive that Willow Award, that recognition of his contribution. 73 he's been there.
I know, he knows the club better than anyone else at the club, but currently no one's been there longer, and there's a lot of fans who, I mean, he's a modest man, he's very good at his job, but there's a lot of Hammers who over the years would have liked him to have gone for the top job from time to time, but clearly it wasn't for him.
And Carrick, Lampard, Defoe and Johnson, all in the current England squad for that Denmark game, which we bring you tomorrow evening on Talksport.